Welcome back. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the book Paimon, the Lord of the Abyss, the King Paimon, the Void and the Silence, no? And I have completed the book. It has 674 pages, and it is longer and bigger than I anticipated. To be honest, when I started to write it, I knew I wanted a long story, you know, but I didn't know it's going to be such a big book. And I made it in verse, in hymn form. It's like an older, ancient version of reciting. And I thought it fits well to Paimon. In general, you know, I work very intuitively, and I don't, and logically, of course, but I don't think so much. Sometimes I'm in the process, you know, after I finish the book, and then I can reflect on the process, how it was, no? And I wrote it as a one poem, no? So it starts as a Whispers of the Abyss, and then it's one long poem from beginning to end, and it's a story, no? Finally, so it does have like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And there is a continuation, no? There's the same rhythms going through the poem. And then with different stories that come through, no? And I left the text as much as possible original, and I worked, you know, on the punctuation, the rhythm of the poem. I tried, you know, and so it sounds good when one recites it. And I'm very happy that I finished the book. Of course, it was a lot of work. At the same time, I am a little nostalgic because I really enjoyed the process of working on this book. It was very magical. It was really beautiful. I loved the visions I got. I loved how determined I worked on it, and how important it felt, how beautiful it felt. And I really loved the love story. I loved the love part. I loved the other stories, and it's just it takes you on a different timeline. No, it's a different time that is reflected in the stories, and with this love, no, there's like this gate of love opening, and there's a door where sunlight can come through into the darkness, now the song and the silence, and the two elements, no, to say that the abyss is not empty, the abyss is not it does carry meaning, the abyss does carry substance, the abyss does carry many secret knowledge, or as you want to put it, it doesn't matter. All my books finally are novels. It's a fantasy story, no, it's based on a character or a historical character, or you can even say a deity, or a book can have any type of subject, and what is important is that the material or the manuscript or the text or the feeling of the words or the story fits to that character, so it's believable, no? That's why I tried not to have errors in the text, because if there is even a slightly tiny error, it's just a space, no, or something that somehow can be even, a misspelled word or extra letter or anything. It takes away from that magic, no. And it is quite descriptive as well, no? I like to give a good feeling of the atmosphere, so it's very descriptive, the book, of the inner dialogue, of the story, of the surroundings, of everything, so to say. It is not a boring reading, no? Quite opposite, actually. And I like these verses. I like this old style of the verses. I think it's quite nice to read them, and it gives like a tempo. It's like a horse that goes and goes. It gives like a nice engine to it. And the book has, as I've said, 674 pages. I have it in PDF format, and if somebody wants to read it, I can send it, no problem. You can contact me on my email address, stanjulia84@yahoo.com. And I'm going to send you the manuscript if you want to read it, and you can have it on your phone. And in future, I am going to publish the book on Amazon, and one can buy it there on paper now. And so the void and the silence, there's a lot of meaning to it. There's a lot of knowledge that came from the abyss, from the silence, no? And it does speak now a lot about the element of silence, no, and how silence carries wisdom, or how silence carries the whispers of the truth, how silence is the one element that we all enjoy. No, there is a beautiful quality to silence, and it's a feeling of peace, of calmness, of harmony, and silence is like the cherry of the cake, no? And I was going back to the image that I had with King Paimon on his throne, reciting, and it's almost like it was a temple that I was walking towards, and I said that room that didn't have a door, and I could see him there on his throne. Almost the vision made me believe now it's almost like I was there at the door, brought at the door to see him. And I had a vision like in lucid dreaming. It was not a dream. It was while I was this one with the throne, I think it was while I was listening to meditation of Paimon, a song that I really love, and there I started to write the first poems that developed then into the book. And the second vision at the market I had when I was playing, I don't know exactly, I think Manjera, at the market where I play in my vision, so to say, and he appeared, and then I spoke about the vision in the other recordings. He appears, and then I was playing the Manjera, and I was not able to talk to him, and he stopped and came to me and asked me something about my music, and I answered him. And then we fell in love, and then he asked me to go with him on the journey. And quite interesting, sometimes when I go back to that moment, I discover like new elements to it that I'm like almost like a confirmation. And it's quite interesting because it's an element that I didn't observe before. And in this image at the market that I saw him on his dromedare, this big dromedare, I looked at the photo again today, and I saw that there was beside him a more tiny camel, or it was a camel, not a dromedare, I think, almost like waiting for me to go on this journey with him through the desert, no? And then I had the vision that we were walking through the desert, and as in the book, now I was writing the story, I was developing the story, and the girl was asking him questions, and he would answer. Now I always like to have dialogue between the characters, and then I decided to continue the love story, of course, and I created for them like a marriage, as the sacrament of vows, of love, and she became his bride, his wife, and it's like that moment in the market that meeting of souls, and I would love to speak a little bit more about that part, because it was very beautiful, I must say. It's almost like a scene from a movie. As I said, I am very visual, and I see things in images. And the feeling there was very like fate destined. It was quite interesting, no? How things developed so fast, and it was a heart wish fulfillment of mine. And yeah, it did give me this book, Paimon, no? So I quite like, to be honest, the first part of the book. I don't know why, I really love the beginning. Of course, the story is beautiful in the end, and depending on one's state of mind or mood, no one can enjoy it in different times or moments. It doesn't, not every book resonates with everyone at a certain time. For me too, it's not easy to find a book that I enjoy. Even, if I'm a writer, I'm quite picky with the books that I read, because it does require time, no? And some books I really love, and I even had a book about a philosopher, American philosopher, Emerson, and to be honest, I was not able to read and understand everything, but still I will go through the pages, because there I will always find some treasures, no? Something that will really resonate with me. And the level of Emerson is very high, it's very beautiful. He's a philosopher, a very logical one, and his ideas are very true and very beautiful, so I really enjoy reading and getting those messages. Another book I really enjoyed was Oscar Wilde. There was a book called Aphorism. It was very funny, I really loved that one, and I really love aphorism, and he will say like funny sentences, short sentences, like truth, but in a cynical way or in a funny way, about the society he was living, and he was like demasking people, by saying the truth. I really loved that he had a very funny, creative mind. Oscar Wilde was like a genius. And what other book I like? I like poetry as well. I like to read poems. I like to read mystical stories. I like to read interesting stories in general. That's what the same for a movie. I like things even from the future, like futuristic movies or futuristic stories, or I like to the dark genre, like Gothic style, some stories or books like that. And I love books as well, so like romance, but it has to be some historical, or has to be something a little deeper than that. And my favorite writer is Anais Nin, not only for her work but for her person. I really love to listen to her, and I love to read her books. I did read her journals, and I did read some other little novels she has written. She hasn't written so much, because she was, she focused mostly on her journaling, and that was her main body of work. Her journals. She has 3 journals, and Anais Nin is a French writer who has traveled at a young age. Her father was a Spanish dancer, and the mom took her and I think brother to America now, and there she has Anais has learned perfect English and is a very smart woman. And she has written a book. She became a famous writer in America. And she was together with a very famous writer, Henry Miller, and she speaks in her journals about the different affairs or her love or her inner her inner world, about her life, her relationships, and there are different. It's exactly as a journal written, different dates, places that she speaks about. It is very enjoyable, but it is a journal. When she was asked why she chose to do that, she said, well, because many people spend a lot of time to understand the artist correlation to the book, so she thought she is going to spare them that work, and she's going to write her journal instead. She did write some prosa, which is very good. I think she was a very talented writer, very smart, and she did inspire many men, and she inspired Henry Miller in his work. And not only that, she supported him financially. She really loved Henry Miller, and they were together, I think, since the day they met, almost until the end. And I think she did marry in the last years of her life, and she had a very loving husband. And she didn't have children. I think it was a choice of her, and I must say I did enjoy to read her journals. And I found some interviews with her voice in some radio broadcast, and I loved the way she talked about men. I loved the way she saw life, and the things that the way she transformed her humor and her gentleness and sweetness. And I loved her accent, because she's French with English now, so she does have an accent. And she did inspire in my name, Anaïs. It is my artistic name, Anaïs Giulia. And Giulia I used when I was a photographer in the past, and then I decided to become a writer, and I didn't want to use my name. I find it doesn't sound good, and because I love her, I said, okay, Anaïs, and then I put it Giulia now. And my real name is longer, much more longer than this one. So she's like my favorite woman writer. I did read Simone de Beauvoir and the French existentialism. Beside all jokes, she was an amazing woman. She did come from a rich family, and she is one of the first women that went to and entered in the Academy of Writer in Paris, Sorbonne. I don't know, there's like a special school, and she was very much respected by men. She was very smart, and she dedicated her life to her work, and she wrote very important books. The Second Sex is her main work, and to be honest, I was more interested in her personal life, and I read her journal, a book she wrote about when she was younger, and it was quite interesting. I wanted to know her more, personally, and she lived her life in Paris, and she was together with her partner. She never married. She was post-marriage, but she was together with her, her main partner. She was a very faithful woman, very hardworking, studious woman. And she was very proud of her success of entering such an elite school, almost impossible to enter as a woman. And she has studied, and she has made it through. Her education, it's quite interesting, the way she was educated. She grew in a good family, and she got a very proper education. And other woman writer, to be honest, now doesn't come to mind. There were different times when I was a child and I would read Romanian fantasy stories, like mythological stories I like as well. To be honest, at the moment, the last years, I was reading a lot of information, or in general, working on my manuscript, so I didn't have so much time to read books, but I do love to read books, especially when I am at vacation. I love to read. That's what I do. I think it's quite relaxing to read a book now. And I like books in general. I like pictures in the books. I love nice books now. I do have a little collection at home, but I don't like to have too many. I like even big atlases, stuff like that. Some books are very beautiful, but they are expensive too as well. You have collection books which it doesn't have to be so expensive, but still, some have very beautiful designs and are not expensive. In general, books are not so expensive. A book goes between 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 euros, something like that, depending on the size or what book it is now. And then there are collection books that go higher, like rare editions. One can buy rare editions of books, like the first edition. Or books do have value, like there is a value to them, of course, the content, the knowledge, but even as the book itself. When I was a child, it was quite funny. Of course, as I spent most of my first years in the countryside, it was not easy for me to learn to write. I did have some difficulties, but then, I exercised and I love to write in general. I love calligraphy. And as a child, I didn't speak much. I was very much concentrated in my inner world, and I did like to observe, or I just I was by myself. I learned to enjoy time or to create things by being by myself, and I found it more fun than necessarily playing with others. No, and I will spend time in nature, so I did have a little difficulty in speaking as well. I had a little bit of cacophony, or how it's called, like some letters I was blocked, T or D, depending on some types of words, and I learned to avoid to say those words at the time, because I felt embarrassed a little bit, and my mother sent me to logopedy, or where you exercise, your R or your sounds. And the writing, I started to write maybe like 4 years ago, 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, I think. But I really started, and then I didn't stop, and I enjoy writing so much. I said I'm going to write 200 books, 100 books, 100 books, not 200, 100, not more. And I'm at number maybe 30 at the moment. So I'm already thinking what book I'm going to write after Paimon, and I'm still searching for a subject. About going back to Paimon book, because I still want to say something about it. I'm still going to do recordings talking about the book, or reading from the book, and it is really very beautiful, and I can't wait to see it in paper. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to have it in my hands. My pleasure is to have the book in paper. That's what I like. It's a different feeling now to read it in paper, and it's a little bit more difficult for me, to be honest, on the phone. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you're well, and I'm going to continue the recording about King Paimon. The Void and the Silence, The Lord of the Abyss, the book that I have completed, and it's time to very soon read from it. Have a great week. Bye.